This video is sponsored by Dragon Tamer. Have you ever wanted to breed, raise, battle, or otherwise tame dragons? Well, now would be the perfect time to start, since Dragon Tamer is currently right in the middle of its anniversary event, where you could be one of hundreds of players to win an actual dragon figurine just for playing the free-to-play game. And don't they just look so cool? It all starts when you breed your dragons to create new dragons that have characteristics taken from their parent dragons. That's how breeding works. And there are over 100 different subspecies of dragons to obtain. And now breeding is more fun than ever with their all-new coloring system, which allows you to select what color you'd like your dragons to be. Then you raise your little dragons from adorable little babies into epic adults, and then it's time to battle. Take them to the global PvP arena, where you'll have to pay attention to what element your dragon is in order to counter your opponent, or fight alongside friends in alliance warfare. There are also the Forest of Spirits or adventure modes for when you'd like to adventure alone. And when you grow weary of battle, sit back, decorate your islands, and gaze upon your glorious dragon taming empire all day or all night. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to download the game and be the one who tames the dragons. And now, on to the video. Hey everyone, Bandit here. Last week I was eating wings at Buffalo Wild Wings, which is my favorite place to get wings. The waiter came up to our table and asked us what we would like to drink. So I replied Diet Pepsi, of course, and he went off to get our drinks. When he was gone, I pulled out my phone and started checking, I don't know, Twitter or something. When he returned with the drinks, I put my phone face down on the table because, you know, when someone walks up to you and you want to give them your attention, you do that to be respectful. Now, I was looking this way up at him and he was looking this way down at us and the table. He saw my phone case sitting there, which is a little mock-up of the Sheikah slate, and just out of the blue says, "Man, it sucks that we had to wait 2 years for some useless gameplay shots." I, being the intellectual that I am, didn't realize that he had seen my phone case laying on the table, so I automatically was thinking, did they announce some sort of chicken wing MMO that I didn't know about? But then of course I realized that he had seen my phone case sitting on the table, and it clicked. Kind of. See, I realized that he was talking about the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer that we just got last month at E3, but I didn't understand what apparently sucked about it. So I just kind of chuckled it off and said, I know, right, or whatever people say when they don't actually know what's being talked about, but they don't want to leave an awkward situation. And that was it. The meal went normally after that, but because Zelda is extremely important to me, what he said kind of stuck with me. In fact, it stuck with me for hours until much later on into the evening, I asked my brother about what the waiter had said. Now, my brother thinks Zelda is fine and all, and he understands Zelda's impact on gaming as a whole, etc., but it is far from his favorite franchise. Meaning he sees the franchise and news about the franchise from a neutral point of view. When I told him what the waiter had said about the new trailer, he immediately agreed with the waiter. He said something like, well, yeah, it was disappointing. I mean, the first trailer was dark and mysterious and there were all these interesting theories about it. This new trailer feels like it dropped all of that. And that's when something started to make a strange kind of sense in the dark, confused, mostly empty corners of my mind. See, there are ways of telling whether a new subject or new video game is making an impact on the internet. You can kind of feel a buzz on social media. There will be lots of posts and threads and memes made about it. And with all the amazing fan art that we've been getting on Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, I just assumed that, yeah, people were loving the new trailer. But see, we as content creators on YouTube have an additional way to tell whether or not something has had an impact on the internet. And it's called clicks. Or views. If a subject has made an impact in the heart of your fan base, you could say that subject is trending. And 100% of the time, new videos about said trending subject will perform better as more people are more likely to click and view said new videos. However, this was not the case with the new trailer. I looked around at my own videos and the videos of some of my Zelda content creating peers and saw that the views aren't really there. At least when you compare it to the first trailer of 2 years ago. The buzz isn't as buzzy as I thought it was going to be. Kind of like what happened when Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity was released. And please don't take this the wrong way, I'm not trying to complain about this, I'm just trying to explain it, mostly to myself. Especially since I personally was so happy with the new trailer. I mean, I had no problems with it. After thinking for a while about what these two individuals said about the new trailer and about the lack of buzz that I've been feeling on YouTube, I decided to take it one step further. I decided to see if there was any actual analytical way to see if the this was actually happening on the internet, besides just word of mouth from a waiter and my brother. So I got online and went to trends.google.com, and sure enough, it's exactly what I was worried about. Searches for the term Breath of the Wild, which would include both the original game and the Breath of the Wild sequel, or Breath of the Wild 2, rose 323% in 2 days on YouTube after the recent trailer dropped last month, as opposed to searches for Breath of the Wild rising 625% in 2 days when the first trailer dropped in 2019. The numbers don't lie. The first trailer had nearly twice as much impact on the internet as the second trailer did. And not only did searches only rise 323% last month, but the new momentum of these searches was completely killed and returned to normal after about 12 days had passed. In contrast, after the first trailer in 2019, searches didn't return to normal levels until an entire 30 days passed. So to put this data that I'm talking about into understandable percentages, according to Google's own search data for the term Breath of the Wild on YouTube, the first trailer inspired 193% more searches than the second, and its momentum lasted for 250% more days. Split the difference between these two percentages, and we have a grand total of the first trailer having 222% more impact overall than the second. Or in other words, we have a grand total of the second trailer having a 55% smaller impact than the first. So all of a sudden, this lack of a buzz that I was hearing about and feeling in the dark, confused corners of my mind wasn't just me being crazy for once. It was actually factually accurate. Now, right about now, you're probably wondering what the point of all this impact data is, and honestly, what the point of this video is. Well, hold your horses, I'm getting there. The point is, why? Why was the second trailer's impact so much lower than the first one? I mean, isn't this literally the only thing we've really been looking forward to for over 2 years now, and we finally got it? Well, I have a hypothesis, and it ties back to what the waiter and my brother said. Apparently, people were disappointed by the new trailer. Actually, no joke, unironically, while I was scripting this part of the video and looking at Nintendo's trailers on YouTube, this video popped up in my search, so I decided to watch it, and guess what? This fellow creator named 247 Mr. Nice Guy said exactly the same thing as my brother and that waiter said. To use some of the terms he used, while the first trailer in 2019 was great at setting this darker tone for Breath of the Wild 2, the second trailer was underwhelming. It was a letdown. And by the way, please don't go over to Mr. Nice Guy's video and leave a dislike or bad comment or anything like that. I just brought his video up to prove my point that people were disappointed with the new trailer, and he has just as much right as anybody else to have an opinion on this. The ultimate question to me now is, why are people disappointed with the trailer? What gives? I mean, personally, I was freaking out over the new trailer. I loved every second of it. I mean, just watch my reaction video on YouTube. Sure, it was a little vague, but there were a lot of definite things that we got too. We definitely know we're going back to Hyrule. We definitely know there are new lands coming above Hyrule. I thought it was just vague enough to be charming, and I also really liked the music. So with me coming from this understanding, it was very confusing to me to realize that not everybody felt the same way. But honestly, do you know why people get disappointed in things, anything? Realistically, there's only one reason. People get disappointed when expectations are not met. I talked a little bit about this in my impromptu video I made earlier this week about the new Switch OLED model, and the same concept applies here to Breath of the Wild 2. There are probably several things to blame for this being the case, such as, COVID delaying development last year for essentially the entire year, and that leading to people being left to their own imaginations to run wild with. But to be honest with you, I think that people like me, the theorists, are also partially to blame for the underwhelming nature of the trailer. I mean, we are the ones who made the trailer out to be, honestly, probably a lot darker and potentially even a lot deeper than it actually was. As fans watching these theories, sometimes we can get so caught up in what could be that we forget what actually is. And in this case, what actually isn't much, actually. I guess my point with all of this is that we as an entire fan base need to get better at gauging our expectations appropriately and fairly. And specifically, we as theorists and fans who love to theorize need to become more careful with our speculations, knowing that we are setting up and influencing other people's expectations. Now, this isn't a call to stop theorizing or stop talking about the game or to stop watching theories. That's dumb. It's just a call to be a bit more careful with knowing what is proven and what has not been proven yet. I think we all want Breath of the Wild 2 to be honestly the biggest Zelda game yet. But if people are already showing signs of disappointment and momentum is already beginning to go the way of Age of Calamity, it may have a bigger impact on the fan base than you think. It's what happened when Age of Calamity released, because everybody was expecting it to be the actual backstory to the Breath of the Wild game that we played, and when that expectation was not met, people like me were disappointed, and therefore it didn't do as well. If we're not careful, the same thing could happen to Breath of the Wild 2. Of course, everyone has the right to have their own opinions on things, so if you watching this were legitimately disappointed in the trailer, there is nothing wrong with that. I would just ask you to ask yourself why you were disappointed, and really try to verify whether or not those reasons are valid. But ultimately, of course, this is all just what I think. Speaking of which, what did you guys think about the new trailer? I'm really curious now. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you watch it and go, meh? Let me know in the comments below. Also, thank you so much for watching this video essay slash theoretical discussion slash warning of mine. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like below so that it can get spread around on YouTube for others to potentially also enjoy. And make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't done so already to stick around for all the awesome Nintendo stuff to come. Huge thanks to my Bandit crew, who are the reason that I can do any of this. And a big welcome goes out to Faith S and Chris H, who have recently joined the ranks of my elite. If you watching are also interested in joining up and helping to create the videos on MaskedNintendoBandit and also helping MaskedNintendoBandit to eat, please feel free to check out that join button below or follow the links in my description to my Patreon and merch pages. Also down there are the links to my Instagram and Twitter, so come follow me on both or either of those for some spicy takes. That's all I've got for this one, so as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. This is MaskedNintendoBandit, looking forward to seeing you in the next one, and signing out. Peace!